As a man, what are you most afraid of? Is it living in poverty? Is it not realizing your full potential before you die? Is it approaching a lady you don't know? Is it getting into a fight and losing? No matter what you fear the most, I believe it can't live up to one thing that can happen to you. And this one thing doesn't care if you're rich, what your ethnic background is, or how old you are. This one thing can happen to you all the same. And this one thing that every guy out there is afraid of is not being able to get it up when it's time to do the horizontal boogie. This one thing is universally known as erectile dysfunction. It used to be that you only hear of cases of ED amongst men older than 40, but according to recent studies, in the last 3 decades, there's been a sharp increase in ED cases amongst fit young males under 40. A 2011 study found that around 26% of healthy males under 40 have a form of erectile dysfunction. 1 in 4 young males these days either has trouble getting it up, finishes too quickly, or can't finish at all until he jerks himself off. So, what could be causing this rise in ED? Well, there are lots of factors that can be causing it. Factors like too much stress, not being active enough, not eating healthy enough, drinking too much alcohol, smoking too much, abusive consumption of drugs, and some diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and so on. But it's also worth noting that in the last 3 decades, with the advent of high-speed internet, there's been a sharp increase in PMO addiction. Guys now have more access to adult content than they ever did, and as a result, guys now masturbate and ejac much more than they ever did. And I know that correlation doesn't necessarily mean causality, because, as I've already said, other factors can contribute to an ED problem. However, this correlation between the rise in PMO addiction and the rise in ED in younger than 40 healthy guys is too strong to be ignored. And this brings me to the first benefit you stand to gain if you practice semen retention. Semen retention benefit number 1. It might be the cure to your erectile dysfunction. Let's say you're a young, healthy male under the age of 40 and you're suffering from a form of ED, and you're PMOing compulsively. You should seriously consider practicing semen retention or NoFap, as it might be the cure to your ED. Fapping excessively can induce erectile dysfunction in several ways. The first way it can do this is that when you jerk yourself too much, you can desensitize your joystick. This happens when you've gotten so used to the sensation of doing it with your hand that no other form of mild contact will give you the right sensation. So you might not be able to finish until you touch yourself. This form of ED is known as delayed ejac. Another way excessive fapping can induce ED is that over the years, with repeated fapping in places in your home where you don't want people in your households to catch you in the act, you can be training your body and brain to release as quickly as possible. And as this is repeated over and over again, your body gets used to quick ejaculation even when you're engaging in the horizontal boogie. This form of ED is known as premature ejac. And the third way that excessive PMOing can induce a form of ED is if you're addicted to watching adult content. Excessively and compulsively watching adult contents flood your brain with dopamine, thereby forcing the reduction of D2 receptors in your brain. And this leads to reduced dopamine sensitivity. And in case you don't know, your dopamine pathway is quite important to your ability to be aroused and get an erection. Someone with a messed up dopamine pathway will find it difficult to get it up when it's time to do the horizontal boogie, because the horizontal boogie is entirely different from the adult content his brain is used to. But when you practice a form of NoFap or semen retention, you cut back on all these habits that feed your ED. And if your ED is PMO-induced, you might find that it is reversed, and your libido also increases as a direct consequence. Speaking of adult content messing up your brain, this brings me to the next benefit you stand to gain when you practice semen retention. Semen retention benefit number 2. You start seeing females as human beings. Back then, when I was a PMO addict, whenever I saw a girl, the first thing I would look at was how hot she was. I would quickly run her body type through the database of adult film stars in my head, and I would match her to who she looked like. Instantly, I would fantasize about a scene the film star was in, and I would match her to a position in the scene. All these thought processes were happening in my head even before approaching her and saying hello. Does this sound disgusting to you? It should, because it's a disgusting way to look at females. And this is what adult contents train your brain to look at women as an object to be used for gratification. The typical adult film doesn't have any story that evokes any emotion in the mind of the viewer. The basic theme and storyline of most films are where the females are submissive and only used as objects of gratification by the man. And with the repeated view of this type of content, your brain starts to subconsciously believe this narrative, and this affects your relationships and your ability to connect emotionally with females. It creates a wall of lust between you and her because you can't look past the lust you've been trained to have for her. And you can't see past that wall to see all the things that make her human. You can't see that every female you see is a being with her own emotions, hopes, dreams, and experiences, both the good and the bad. Once you start retention or NoFap and you stop watching these contents, you begin to rewire your brain. The wall of lust starts reducing in height, and you're now able to see past it. That's when you start picking up on the subtle emotional cues that women drop that you were initially oblivious to. And this will lead to you automatically being able to build deeper and better relationships with the females in your life. Semen retention benefit number 3, sexual transmutation. Although the concepts of self-help and self-improvement have been around for thousands of years, I would argue that its current mainstream version was pioneered by Napoleon Hill through his forever classic Think and Grow Rich. Here came a man that for the better parts of 2 decades did research by shadowing over 500 highly successful people in society and publishing all that he learned in a practical, easy-to-digest book. Up until that point, no one in the self-improvement niche had done that much extensive real-life research into the lives of highly successful people and came back with practical tips that the common man can adopt in his own life. And in the Think and Grow Rich book, the chapter that I believe is the most powerful for any man is the chapter on sexual transmutation. And it's this chapter that led a lot of men to practice NoFap and semen retention. It was this chapter that led me to NoFap and semen retention. I believe that if you don't want to practice semen retention at all, you should at least practice it for the benefit of sexual transmutation. As a man, your semen is your life force. It's your most potent source of power. So if you can harness this energy and move it through your balls to all the rest of your body and up to your brain, you're transmuting your sexual energy into your health, your virility, your vitality, your creative pursuits and financial pursuits, and your relationships. Rather than wasting this energy by ejaculating frequently, if you have this potent energy working for you, every aspect of your life gets better. Your health gets better, your energy levels get better, your finances get better, your relationships get better, your level of spirituality improves, and as a result of all of these, your status in society gets a whole lot better. Where a lot of guys run into problems with the concept of sexual transmutation, and where I've run into problems with it in the past, is exactly how to transmute your stored sexual energy. Napoleon Hill didn't exactly mention the practical steps to take to transmute the stored energy. And if you're just practicing semen retention for months and years on end, and you're not moving this energy out of your balls upward and throughout your body, you won't see any of the acclaimed benefits of transmutation that Napoleon Hill raved about in his book, and the benefits that have changed my life in the past 3 years. So if you want to learn the exact steps of how to transmute your sexual energy while you're retaining or practicing NoFap, there's a video up here where I break the simple steps down. Watch the video and you'll never have to ask the question of how to transmute your sexual energy ever again. If you've made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. If you found this video helpful at all, please destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when I drop videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.